With an update on a neighborhood we've been reporting on for years. Police have busted 2 people for open-air drug dealing in South Dallas.
Shit, your teeth gonna break. A lot of people can't stand the pressure. Pressure make a nigga fold. I'ma stand in it. Like, I was born for this shit, I was built for it. That's why every time something come, I just run through it. Like, man, I ain't trying to dodge and I ain't ducking. I know what come with it. I know something gonna come. You gotta be ready when it comes. Know what to do when it comes.
Montana 700 is currently under a federal microscope, a move that has sent shockwaves through the entire Dallas rap scene. Following his lightning-fast rise to stardom and those diamond-encrusted chains valued at $375,000, Montana was reportedly managing a complex narcotics ring that eventually drew the focus of federal agents. The startling reality behind what brought the authorities to his front door is more sinister and multifaceted than anyone guessed, and we are about to lay it all out. This high-energy young artist from Oak Cliff transitioned from daily survival in the drug trade to being one of the most popular rappers in Dallas. However, the question on everyone's mind is, was the music merely a front for something much larger? We are about to explore some intense street conflict that has been rattling the Dallas hip-hop world. And believe me, this narrative is more intense than any song lyrics you have ever heard. Now, before we get into this wild journey, let me be totally honest with you all. There have been quiet whispers on the block and rumors spreading about Montana 700 and his team being targets of a federal probe. But look, we are about to distinguish the truth from the myths, the authentic from the fake, and demonstrate exactly how a young man from the 700 block of Wood Drive in Oak Cliff became a target for the feds. That is the year that altered everything for Montana 700. Born Tony this young guy from one of the most perilous areas in Dallas was deeply involved in the streets doing whatever was necessary to get by. But here is where it gets very interesting. By the time he hit 14 years old, Montana was already facing 5 aggravated robbery charges. Think about that for a second. 5 major cases before he was even old enough for a driver's permit. Now wait a minute, before you all assume this is just another story of a rapper who used to sell drugs. Montana's case was unique because he was not just dipping his toes into minor crimes. According to people familiar with the situation, he was reportedly running a massive operation that would eventually force him to find a way to make his money look legal. And that is where the rap industry entered the picture. So, listen. Oak Cliff, South Dallas, Texas. Specifically the 700 block of Ivywood Drive. This is the starting point for Montana's journey, and it is not a pretty one. We are talking about one of the most historically violent areas in Dallas. Extreme poverty, high crime rates, and gang presence on every corner. The kind of environment where you either find an exit or you end up as a statistic. Montana was raised by a single mom trying to support 5 children. That is 6 people to feed on one paycheck in one of the roughest parts of Texas. The numbers do not add up from the start. When you grow up in that environment, watching your mom struggle every single day just to provide food and keep the power on, that impacts you mentally. It breeds a sense of desperation, a deep hunger, and a do whatever is necessary to survive mindset. Now, in the neighborhood, we understand that when you are that young with that many legal cases, you are not just experimenting. You are fully committed. You are deep in the streets. You are dedicated to that lifestyle because you feel like there are no other options. Montana has been very candid about his time in juvenile jail. He has discussed how he and his closest circle did everything as a unit since childhood. They got into trouble together, served time in juvie together, and returned home together. But here's where the narrative goes beyond just survival. Montana did not just stay with robberies. Honestly, he expanded his business. He moved from just taking scores to reportedly establishing himself in the narcotics trade. When Montana mentions risking his life in drug houses every day in his tracks, insiders say that is not just imagery, that was his real life. The drug trade in Dallas, particularly in spots like Oak Cliff, is ruthless. You have rivals on every corner looking to rob you. You have addicts who might threaten you with a weapon. You have the police raiding locations at any moment. And you have robbers specifically looking for drug houses because they know cash and product are there. Every day spent in a trap is a day you might not return home. But Montana was young and motivated and reportedly earning massive sums of money. We are talking about a teenager who, according to neighborhood sources, was moving so much product that he began to draw attention not just from enemies, but from the police. The real gossip that has everyone worried is that Montana reportedly was not just a low-level dealer. Insiders claim he was orchestrating the work, supervising several locations, and saving money at a level that most adults in that life never achieve. Now, let's discuss April 2017 because this is the moment everything shifts. Montana's closest friend, Mark Dean Barneau, the guy he called Mike, was the only individual who knew Montana had rap skills. They were chatting on the phone one day and Montana began to freestyle, just rhyming off the top. Mike was stunned, telling him he could truly make it with this rap stuff. But here's the real shocker though. Only 3 weeks after that conversation, Mike passed away. He died at only 17 years old. Montana was crushed, totally heartbroken, but something inside him changed at that point. His best friend had seen his potential, had pushed him to chase music, and Montana felt he owed it to Mike's legacy to give it a shot. "My friend died at 17, Montana stated in an interview. "The world has to know this. I have to make his name famous. I'm already rapping in this way. I don't know anything else I truly enjoy doing. I know I can rhyme well though, and they actually pay you for it. So, let's try it." But look, this is where the federal interest reportedly begins. See, when you are earning the kind of cash Montana was reportedly making in the streets, you have a major issue. You cannot just put $50,000 in cash into a bank account without alerting the authorities. You cannot acquire several homes, luxury vehicles, and high-end jewelry without proving illegal income. This is where the music business becomes more than a dream. It becomes a possible tool for money laundering. For those of you who might not grasp how this works, let me explain. When you are in the streets earning illegal cash, you need a method to clean it, to make it look like it came from legal avenues. The music world is ideal for this because it involves a lot of cash. Income is tough to follow, and costs are flexible. You can claim you earned money from concerts, merch, or streaming, all things that are very hard for the law to verify fully. Montana began releasing music non-stop tapes, short projects, and singles just saturation the Dallas market with his style. His sound was distinct from much of what was emerging from Dallas then. It had that genuine street sorrow in it. You could hear the pain in his vocals. You could feel the authentic trauma in his rhymes. Tracks about risking his life in traps daily were not metaphors for Montana. That was his literal life he was telling. The real question is, was Montana's sudden fame in music based only on skill, or was there another factor involved? By 2022, Montana was truly starting to pick up speed. He released a project called The One that began to get serious attention in Dallas. Then in 2024, he teamed up with another Dallas rapper, Zillionaire Doe, for a joint project titled 70,042 that really put them both at the forefront of the new Dallas movement. But here is where it gets intriguing. Montana was not just rapping about basic street topics. He was specifically discussing the drug house, moving large amounts, and earning money in ways that caught the attention of the youth. Tracks like Pipeline became massive in Dallas. Local stations played it. Venues played it. People really felt the vibe. Now, Montana and his circle will tell you they are trying to inspire the youth, trying to show them an exit. And honestly, there is some uplifting messaging in there about going legal, creating lasting wealth, and winning championships in the life by changing paths and finding a different way to earn. But let's be real. When you are a young kid from Oak Cliff and you hear Montana rhyme about the cash he made in the drug trade, the dangers he survived, and the lifestyle that followed, what message are you actually getting? The streets have been talking, and they are saying that Montana's music, while Rio was reportedly having a bad influence on some kids who saw the drug life as a valid road to success, in the neighborhood, we know that influence carries weight. When you see a young guy who is truly from the struggle, who really lived that way, and he is now covered in diamonds, driving exotic cars, and closing million-dollar property deals, that is something to aim for. However, if the road he used to get there involved illegal acts, and he is rhyming about it in detail, that is when the authorities start watching. The real news that has everyone shook is this. Insiders familiar with the matter claim that federal detectives have been crafting a case against Montana 700 and his partner Zillionaire Doe for alleged narcotics distribution and money laundering. Now, we have to be clear. These are only claims, and Montana has not been formally charged. But the streets are gossiping, and what is being said is worrying. According to several sources, the feds are using a standard tactic: arrest people in Montana's circle and pressure them to talk. This is how they build RICO indictments and take down whole groups. They start at the bottom, pressure the minor players, and work their way up to the leaders. Let me explain how this usually goes down. The feds do not just wake up and decide to probe a rapper. They begin with financial warnings. When someone who has only been in the rap game for a few years is suddenly acquiring million-dollar homes, when they are flaunting hundreds of thousands in diamonds while living a life that doesn't align with their official income, that sparks suspicion. The authorities reportedly began checking Montana's books and saw some gaps. How does one go from the trap to owning several homes and luxury cars so fast? Where is all this cash actually coming from? Is the music making enough money to fund this life? Or is there another paycheck? For those not in the loop, money laundering is when you take dirty money and make it look legal. In Montana's situation, insiders claim he may have been using his rap career, property buys, and other companies to hide money that was reportedly made through narcotics. Now, this is where the narrative goes deeper than just one artist's alleged moves. The new Dallas wave that Montana and Zillionaire Doe built brought together rappers from different blocks and backgrounds. All together, under one flag, it is great from a cultural view over conflict, teamwork over rivalry. But from a federal agent's view, this kind of grouping can look like something else entirely. But here is where it gets serious, fam. Montana's trouble is not just about him, it is about everyone in his circle, everyone who is part of that Dallas movement, and everyone moved by his journey. When the feds start probing someone at Montana's status, they search everywhere. They check friends, partners, business associates. The real kicker, though, is that Montana has been very open about his wealth. He is on Instagram flaunting the jewelry, the cars, and the homes. He is doing shows talking about escaping the trap. He is being open about his history while creating his future. But that openness, that realness that made him famous, may have also made him a target. In the streets, we know you cannot just show off money and fame without some pushback. But Montana seemed to think that by going legal, by doing music, and building real companies, he could escape his past. The question is, did he truly leave it? Or was he still reportedly tied to things that would catch the eye of federal agents? Insiders claim that the authorities have been tracking Montana's travels, his money moves, and his friends. They have reportedly been building a case that could involve charges of narcotics distribution, money laundering, and even RICO counts if they can prove a criminal group. Let me explain what the feds are reportedly looking for. Regarding money laundering, Montana went from the block to suddenly having major assets, houses, luxury cars, and expensive diamonds. The question investigators reportedly ask is, where did the cash for all this actually originate? Music income can be followed. Streaming pay, concert fees, and merch sales all leave a digital trail. If Montana's legal music earnings do not match his spending and assets, that is a warning sign. Sources claim that agents have been comparing his official income against his luxury buys and property, and they reportedly found gaps. Real estate is a standard way to launder money. You buy a home with cash or a down payment from illegal sources. You keep it, maybe fix it up, and then sell it. The gain looks legal on paper. Montana has been public about his property buys, mentioning million-dollar deals, but the authorities reportedly want to know where the initial money for those deals came from. The streets have been saying that Montana was reportedly still tied to his old life, even as his music career exploded. Insiders claim he may have been using his legal companies as a cover to hide money from current illegal acts. If true, this would explain how he got rich so fast and why the feds are reportedly curious. Ultimately, Montana 700's situation is about more than just one rapper. It is about the reality of street life, the difficulty of truly moving on, and the focus that follows success when you have been open about your history. Montana started with Nethia, single mom with 5 kids in a dangerous Dallas neighborhood. He did what he felt was needed to live. He lost his best friend at 17 and used that sorrow as fuel for music. He created a movement that brought peace to a divided city. He moved thousands of kids with his story of change. But if the claims are true, if he was reportedly still tied to illegal acts while building his career, then all that fame is in danger. The feds do not play around. When they build a case, they build it to win. And if they have been probing Montana for drugs and money laundering, and if they have been arresting his circle to get people to talk, then Montana and zillionaire Doe could be facing major trouble. What do you think about Montana 700's situation and what lies ahead? Do you think the feds have a real case, or is this just talk based on his history? Post your thoughts below, and make sure you are subscribed, because we are going to be tracking this narrative very closely. If charges are filed or arrests occur, you will hear about it here first.